Hello, this is question 3 on your mixed exercise 4 from year 12. We have the diagram of this curve, and we have point B, which is the 0, 0, point A, which is the maximum, and y equals 2 is an asymptote. Yeah, so the graph is going to be closer but without touching. Sketch the following, and we have to give the coordinates of A, B, and the equation of the asymptote. So the first one, when I multiply the x by 2, is a stretch. So every time I multiply is a stretch. So it's a stretch. It's in the x direction because I'm multiplying the x, and the scale factor is the reciprocal, so it's going to be 1/2, which means the x's are going to be divided by 2. So the asymptote, nothing changes, so my y equal 2 is still my asymptote, but my x's are going to be divided by 2, which means the a is going to be now in the 1.5, and nothing changes in the y, so it's going to be 4. Yeah, and the b stays where it is, so point A and point B is the same. So my graph is going to do something like going up here down to the asymptote. Yeah, more or less. I'm not sure if it's a great graph, but the important thing is that you keep the asymptote and you have the coordinates of the maximum. Yeah, so that's the first one. Then for B, we are multiplying the y, the function, by 1/2, which means it's a stretch, in this occasion in the y direction, and the scale factor is going to be what multiplies the y. In this case, 1/2. So I'm not doing the reciprocal, it's just the number that is here. Yeah. So everything in the y direction is divided by 1/2. So that means that the asymptote is divided, because the whole graph goes divided and goes here. So my new asymptote is y equals 1. Then this point, the x doesn't change, but the y goes divided by 2. So it's going to be 2. So this point is going to be now here. And the coordinates are going to be 3, doesn't change, and the y 2. And remember, when I'm doing a stretch, if it's in the y direction, the roots don't change. So this point stays. So B is the same, yeah? So B stays and A is this point. And now I'm going to represent the graph going up to the maximum. Sorry. Up to the maximum and then down to the asymptote. Yeah, more or less. Then next one, C. I'm translating everything down by 2. So it's a translation in the y direction. Translation. And it's 2 down, if you want to think that. Yeah. So the graph is going to be asymptote goes down by 1. By 2, sorry, because it goes down by 2. So this is the new asymptote. Then this point goes down by 2, so it's going to be here. So the new A is going to be the same x, but this point. And then B goes down by 2, so B is going to be the 0 minus 2. Yeah. So my graph is going to go kind of parallel to the previous one, or as parallel as it could be, and then this is going to be the asymptote. Yeah. And we have given the coordinates of A and coordinates of B. For D, I'm adding 3 to the x. Is a translation, but this case is in the x direction. Is a translation, sorry, in the x direction, and I'm moving 3 left. So when the number is positive, I'm moving left, which means my asymptote doesn't change because it's in the x direction, but my point go 3 to the left. So this A, if it goes 3 to the left, is going to be here. And the new coordinates are going to be 0, 4. And then B is going to go to the left 3. So this is going to be minus 3, 0, that's B. And my asymptote doesn't change. So my graph is doing something like this and like this. So it's moving left by 3. And this is the equation of the asymptote. Yeah, so A, B, and the asymptote. Then for E, I am moving 3 right. So it's a translation in the X direction, but 3 right. So E is 3 right. So let's going to see where the points go. Asymptote doesn't change because it's horizontal, so the asymptote is the same, but this point moves 3 to the right, so it's going to go to the 6, 4. So 6, 4, A is going to be 6, 4, and B is going to go 3 right, so it's going to be 3, 0. That's point B. So the whole thing moves parallel to the right and then down to the asymptote again, yeah? And this is the new A and the new B. The next one and the last one is this one. Everything goes up by 1 because I am adding to my Y 1. So all the Y's go up by 1. So I have a translation, in this occasion in the Y direction, and it's 1 up. So Y direction, 1 up. That means that this point stays in the 3, the X doesn't change, but the Y is going to be 5. My asymptote is going to go up as well because I'm moving everything up. The asymptote goes up, and this point B goes up by 1 again. So it's going to be in the 0, 1. So this is B, this is A. And my graph is going to be something like this. Yeah, point A, asymptote, point B. Yeah, and that's all with this question.